Hi there. So this week we're working on something a little bit different. We're working on OT reviews and insights into different things. So we've worked on the sensory thing, the sensory diet, the compression and weighted vests and materials. Today what I'd like to talk about is the OT consumer reviews and insights of toys. So we've talked about this a little bit when we were talking about play and the developmental stages of play in each area. And we've talked about it with bilateral coordination of things. But I want to show you some toys, and mostly what I want to do with you today, to no surprise, is talk about some things. Because we can't review all of the toys of all time. It's just, there's a lot, right? But what I want to help you with is to suss out, like, okay, expecting a baby, or they need some new things, like what can grow with your child and what to look for overall when thinking about buying toys for your child. First of all, with toys, less is more. I know that's not popular these days because grandparents want to buy things, everyone wants to buy things for your child. Something that I have found with gifts, and it might not be popular, maybe it is, are magazine subscriptions, highlights, National Geographic for Kids, and subscriptions to things like the Wiki Crates, or I did Annie's modeling. It's piece of wood that come and you build something together. I've done those things because they're activities and there's something to do, and it's fresh and new each month or every 3 months or whatever it is. So those are some ideas if you have to talk to family members and friends about the toy thing. Easier said than done, I know. Toys. You're not gonna be surprised about this either. I, as an occupational therapist, much more prefer open-ended toys than closed-ended toys. So open-ended toys are things and toys that do not have one answer and one answer only, or one way to play with them. So I'll bring something up that's a closed-ended toy. We played with this when we were talking about one hand stabilizing and the other hand doing something else. It's gonna face me, and I'm not doing it the right way. There's really kind of only one way to play with this. You turn the handle, it happens one way, and it's gonna pop up really soon and I'm gonna be scared. There it is. And it's the monkey. So it's always the same, and then you push it down and close it. This is not a bad toy. It just only has one answer. If you turn it, it pops up. So it's a closed-ended toy. It does serve a purpose for a younger population. And if the goal is to use two hands with something stabilizing and moving, that's fine. So there's a lot of asterisks in this one, right? Another closed-ended toy, my lovely niece, Lovey, built this when she came to visit a few summers ago. This is closed-ended because there is only one way to make Moana's boat. And I just took the oar off. However, there's an oar. The chicken was along with it. There was a person with it. There's a map with it. So this in itself, just building the set, that's closed-ended. There's one answer and one answer only. However, then if you have the figures and they're gonna go on a trip and they're gonna go across the ocean, that's open-ended. Or if you take all these pieces off and build something from your own imagination using ideation, an idea that the child themselves have, that becomes open-ended. We've used these before, same thing. This stays still and this cuts. It's great because they have to stabilize with one hand and cut with the other. And you might think this is closed. This is a closed-ended toy. There's one way to put it together, and you're right. But it depends how you play with it and how you facilitate it as the grown-up or caregiver or therapist. It can become a phone, it can become a smile, it can become lots of different things, and the rest of the fruit's in the back room. You can play kitchen with it. So this in itself is closed-ended, but overall, if you can add to it, it becomes open-ended. So those are a few. Another thing that can be very closed-ended are puzzles. So especially putting pieces in and taking them out, putting them in, taking them out, putting them in, taking them out, repetitive. There's no ideation there. If there is a board, that you don't have to have an idea of what goes where. That's creative. It goes in and out. However, if you take the board away and you have your fishing pole and you put these to one side, I'll put them right here, and you have the child put their hand on their lap and they go over, and you ask them for each piece, and then what does it do, or something about it, and you're creative with it, it becomes open-ended. And we're also crossing midline. Do you remember that from way back, probably in April we did that video? So you're crossing midline when you're going across. So in how the toy is created doesn't have to be how you use it. I think when I think about a closed-ended toy, I also think, besides puzzles, I am very wary of toys that talk. Talk to your speech therapist about this as well, but I think about the teapot that you tip it over, it says one thing, it becomes robotic and rote, so the child does not have to be as creative. And then it teaches them there's one way to play with this. The teapot says one thing, instead of being more creative and more thoughtful and having more ideas, ideation, about like what to do with it next. And also I want the toy to foster different motor planning skills, meaning in my brain has to think about how my body is working with things. If something talks to you, you're doing it the same way all the time, and it doesn't really help with that. So I love a tea set. It's open-ended. I also here have a house. So this is great. I have someone who is trying to draw shingles, I think. Because this, if you open it up, it's all gonna spill out. This is open-ended. There are dolls. The dolls don't have to do the same thing every time, and they don't talk, so they can't tell you what they're gonna do every time, right? And again, as the caregiver therapist educator, we're working on different ideas. So working with what the child has and then continuing that, moving it to the next level carefully. So the child is always doing the work. And they think it's play, because it is their play. It is their work, I mean. Child's work is play. Something else. This looks like it would be closed-ended, but remember that story I told a while ago? I have one backpack to walk around entire Center City, and I worked with children 3 years to about 12 at that point. I had to make things that were creative to do with this, with younger and older children. So yeah, this is stable, this is one thing, but what else can you do with it? Something that I adore, and I actually have success with this is my little pouch. I open it up and I let the children open it up because it's fine motor skill and dexterity to open it up, and strength, and then it's grasping to pull things out. And these haven't been used for a little bit. So what are they? They're TheraBands. And there are a lot of different things you can do with TheraBands. These are really sticky. I use these for strengthening, but you don't really have to tell the kids for that, right? Like, how far can you pull it or push it? Or what can you wrap it around? I've wrapped these around those little frogs that I have used before, and pretend that they were bandages, and then the child has to take them off. So it really depends how you play with the toy, but quick takeaways would be, wooden toys are great, and also big structure things. I've been seeing, especially on Instagram lately, these big sets that I'll do it this way, look like rainbows. They're like half circles that they rock, or those cushions called nuggets. We had those at the therapy space last summer, and boy, were they so fun, because you can be creative with it, and the child is physically moving things, so they're working on core strength, body organization, and they're getting that input too that we talked about this week. So wooden toys are wonderful. If you have toys that are talking, can you turn them off? And how are you playing with them? Are you fostering creativity in your child? And also, I've learned this from speech therapists. I mentioned this in the beginning, less is more. If you have a lot of toys out, the child can jump from one thing to the next, 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 and then say, I'm bored. Instead of working with one thing and saying like, how else can I play with this? Can I wrap this around the banana? It's the same color. Maybe I'll bandage it up and cover it. And also from a speech and language pathology standpoint, having less toys out is better because it also helps the child to go to a grown-up and ask the grown-up to have another toy. Putting toys up for the younger kids is really helpful. Anyway, consult your speech and language pathologist and your occupational therapist for toys that would be best for your child. But that's a quick overview of like how to start to look at toys from a therapeutic standpoint and occupational therapist standpoint. Multifunction and creativity. That is that. Tomorrow is Dance Party Friday, and we will do another activity tomorrow. Have a great day. See you tomorrow for our dance party with Lucy Bacon. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.